Welcome to ESPN College Football presented by Cars.com. From Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, one of 3 matchups today involving ranked teams. This game factors into the Big Ten West Championship race. Minnesota and Nebraska. The Gophers control their own destiny to the Big Ten title game if they win today and win in Madison next week. Meanwhile, Nebraska still with a chance. But Nebraska looking to rebound from a disappointing defensive effort against Melvin Gordon and Wisconsin last week. Senior day for Amir Abdullah and Kenny Bell, 2 standouts on the Nebraska offense. The Huskers won the toss, and they're going to put their defense on the field first. Minnesota will receive. Gophers played well at home against Ohio State last week, but could not get off the field on 3rd down. Also had a couple of mistakes, turnovers by the quarterback Mitch Leidner. But the committee, the College Football Playoff Committee, felt pretty good about the Golden Gophers, that they kept them in the top 25. You don't see that ever in the AP or coaches polls, but the committee felt Minnesota is still a top 25 team. Nebraska dropped as well after the loss to Wisconsin, but Cornhuskers still ranked number 23. Weather not as bad as we had last week when it was 15 degrees and snowing in Minneapolis. It's in the 40s today, although windy down on the field. Gusts around 10 or 15 miles an hour right now. They could get up to 25. Jalen Myrick has a kick return for a touchdown. He is deep along with KJ May as Moro Bondi boots it away. And it will be a touchback and come out to the 25-yard line. Dave Pasch, Brian Griese, Tom Luganville down on the field. Brian, we mentioned that Nebraska still with an outside chance to win the Big Ten, but they're not really thinking about that. They're worried about, can we get off the field on defense? Almost 600 yards rushing they allowed last week.
Yeah, and it's going to be all about attitude. I mean, it's senior day. This defense was embarrassed a week ago. Melvin Gordon, what he did to them. They're going to play a very good back this week in this game against David Cobb. He comes in 1,350 yards on the ground. It's going to be a long day if they don't get him on the ground early.
Now, Bo Pelini has a history of responding. He's 20-5 as Nebraska coach, as David Cobb picks up about 4. 20-5 as Nebraska coach after a loss. That's the best record in the Big Ten over the last 7 years. We mentioned Mitch Leidner had 2 picks against Ohio State. That was a week after he passed for 4 touchdowns against Iowa. Does have a good record as a starting quarterback, 9-4, but they need more from him if Nebraska can stop Cobb.
And they need some production. They don't need him to go 24 for 28. Last year in the game they beat Nebraska, he only had 8 completions. He just has to be efficient when they do throw the football.
So 4-yard gain on 1st down. Now play action. This is where Leidner is effective, but it's knocked away and incomplete. Nate Gary defending the tight end Max Williams. All right, our impact players are brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. Here's Tom.
Well, for Minnesota on offense, guys, David Cobb is the bell cow. They got to feed him early and often. This isn't an offense or a team that has fared well when they've gotten behind early. And defensively for Nebraska, keep an eye on Malik Collins. He could be the next Ndamukong Suh. And we know Randy Gregory can rush the passer, but can he play in a phone booth versus a physical offensive line?
They'll get a shot here maybe to rush the passer. No, Leidner going to keep, and there's nobody on that side of the field for Nebraska. That looked a heck of a lot like last week. Where were the Huskers defensive backs in support on this side of the field? 22-yard run.
Yeah, Dave, they're going to just a fake here. You see there's nobody left for Leidner. It's a nice read from Leidner. Good play design by Matt Limegrover, putting 3 wide receivers on one side of the field. That's a formation that Nebraska's defensive personnel has not seen from Minnesota so far this year.
Leidner is a good runner despite being the heaviest quarterback in the Big Ten, 240 pounds. Here's Cobb, and a good play by Zaire Anderson, Nebraska's leading tackler, bringing down Cobb for a 2-yard loss. He's not easy to get to the ground at 220, 7th leading rusher in the country.
You know, and watching that film from a week ago, it was all 11 guys on defense for Nebraska that took their turns, really having struggles getting both Corey Clement and Melvin Gordon on the ground. And you look at these 59 points, 11 yards per rush, and 7 touchdowns. There's no question they've been challenged in practice all week. by John Papuchis, their defensive coordinator, and Bo Pelini. We'll see if they rise to the occasion on the first drive.
Cobb, he's to the 46-yard line. Anderson on the tackle. Think about it. John Papuchis' defense went from 20th nationally in their rush defense ranking to 73rd. They gave up fewer yards over a span of 4 games than they did in one game last week against Wisconsin.
And you're right. They weren't terrible coming into that game. They played some teams that could run the football. They played Michigan State, Langford, and they were only averaging 123 yards given up on the ground, but certainly a complete breakdown a week ago, and they will be tested early and often by this Minnesota rush attack.
Let's see if we get a quarterback run here. It's going to be Leidner. And this time Nebraska is not fooled. They saw that coming. Vincent Valentine was there for the Cornhuskers. And it brings up 4th down. And the punt team will come on for the Gophers.
I understand the play call from Matt Limegrover. You know that on 3rd down situations you're going to get a hard rush upfield. But Valentine and Malik Collins on the inside kept their gaps. Collins pushes his guard back, and that's who ends up tripping Leidner up.
Go 4th down and 5, and Peter Mortel, one of the best punters in the Big Ten, will try to pin Nebraska deep. True freshman DeMornay Pearsonell, who has 2 punt returns for scores, is back off the side of the foot of the punter, and it just dies at the 15-yard line. So that's where Nebraska will start its first offensive series. Sophomore quarterback Tommy Armstrong. We talked about Leidner's struggles last week. Armstrong had some of the same issues at Wisconsin. 12 incompletions and only 62 yards passing. But he's won games. He's 15-3 as a starter.
Yeah, we were talking with Bo Pelini last night. He really felt like Tommy Armstrong took too much of the game on his shoulders a week ago against Wisconsin. Put too much pressure on himself. Very competitive kid, and in a big game like that against Wisconsin, you got to let the team around you help you. It doesn't have to be all you making plays all the time. So Bo Pelini's one message to Tommy Armstrong before this game is go have fun, play ball.
And here's Amir Abdullah, hit at the point of the attack and spilled at the 18-yard line. A 2-yard run. Our impact players brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry.
Yeah, and part of that 11-man offense that need to step up today is that offensive line. Their captain, their left guard, Jake Cotton, and then Mark Pelini, who has really played well at that center position. Both guys need to come off the football and give room for Amir Abdullah. And then Damian Wilson, the middle linebacker for Minnesota, who's made plays all year in this defense, will be a key in the game.
And it is Pelini that's shaken up. He is Bo's nephew. So on the first play on senior day for Mark Pelini, he goes down.
And he looks like he's in real pain there. This is first-year starter for Mark Pelini, and he has played outstanding this year. Take a look in here. Oh, he just gets rolled up there.
Minnesota player falling in the back of his leg. Back in a moment. So sophomore Ryan Reeves is his replacement at center, and they go out of an empty set on 2nd and long. Armstrong has a completion. Catch made by Jordan Westerkamp, his 35th reception. He is the 2nd leading receiver this year.
Yeah, that's a tough way for Mark Pelini to go out. You know, he's waited a long time for his chance to start at center, and to go out on senior day like that, it's just a shame. Ryan Reeves, now the onus is on him. The only thing good that he has going for him is he's got 2 seniors at both guards right next to him, Jake Cotton and Mike Mowdy. That should help him out with some of those calls up front. But the center back quarter exchange is what the question is all about.
In trouble is Armstrong, able to escape, throw it deep, and got Kenny Bell. The senior makes the grab. He's inside the 30. Bell being chased, and they finally get to him inside the 5. What a throw by Tommy Armstrong. And now Kenny Bell is shaken up. 73-yard reception for Bell, the career leader at Nebraska in receiving yards.
And here's Bell. He's just going to come down and run a little post route. And watch the defenders on this play. They get tied up a little bit in the secondary. There's a little cross route, and right there's miscommunication, and looks like Murray number 31, who was in charge, Eric Murray, was in charge of staying with Kenny Bell. Just got a little bit mixed up, and give credit to Tommy Armstrong getting that ball downfield, and looked like Kenny Bell took a hard hit when he got to the sideline.
And Bell got up, was being helped towards the Nebraska bench, and then went down again.
Oh, yeah.
So first down and goal for Nebraska. Here's Amir Abdullah, and he's inside the 5-yard line. We haven't had a chance yet to talk about Abdullah. He comes in 9th in the nation in rushing, 4th in rushing touchdowns, playing his final home game here at Nebraska.
And there's some other records that are on the plate for Amir Abdullah. He's chasing Mike Rozier for the career mark here at Nebraska. 3 times he's had over 1,000 yards rushing. Quite an incredible career at Nebraska.
Abdullah off the right side, bounces into the end zone. Touchdown, Cornhuskers. '18th rushing touchdown this season for Amir Abdullah, 13th at home.
Such a pivotal drive for Bo Pelini, this offense, this entire team and program, with what happened a week ago in Madison. Be embarrassed like they were, and everybody had questions as to how this team would come out, their focus and their drive, and on senior day to go right down the field. A big play by both their seniors playing their last game here in Lincoln, Kenny Bell and Abdullah for the touchdown.
After getting the stop on defense, and the point after good by the true freshman Drew Brown. Well, Amir Abdullah, certainly one of the best backs in all of college football. Showed why in that run. Good hard run.
And a great start for Tommy Armstrong. You know, he had that quick pass to start the game, 2 for 2 on that drive. And Tim Beck with some good play calls to get the rhythm of his young quarterback early in the game.
Monty's first kick was not returnable. This one will be taken on the goal line by Myrick, who's got great speed. And he can't break a tackle, though. Dragged down just shy of the 30-yard line by Jordan Nelson. Bo Pelini told us yesterday that in all their wins, they've scored, or excuse me, in their losses, they've scored first. Leidner dumping it off to Cobb, dragged down by Anderson, who was in coverage. A 7-yard gain.
Yeah, you're right. Last week they were up 17-3 on the road against Wisconsin, and then Wisconsin rolled off 56 unanswered. So Bo Pelini knows, he understands that just because you start fast doesn't mean you're going to win the game.
Second down and 3 for the Gophers. Trying to get 8 wins for the 2nd straight year. Leidner with another carry, and he picks up the first down to the 45.
You know, last week against Ohio State, Mitch Leidner did not play well. He didn't have the kind of rhythm that he had the week prior against Iowa. I think him keeping the football here is a good thing for Minnesota early. 240 pounds, much like Nebraska, who has two guys in Armstrong and Abdullah that don't run the football. It's a Leidner and Cobb show, and for Leidner to get some runs early is a positive.
Here's Cobb, finds a hole, drags a defender into Nebraska territory. The corner, Daniel Davey, trying to bring down Cobb, who, by the way, is not a Doak Walker semifinalist. 3 players from the Big Ten were named semifinalists. Cobb is not one of them. He's the one guy that nobody really talks about when it comes to the Big Ten backs. He's not in Melvin Gordon's category in terms of being a Heisman candidate, but he's a talented kid.
Well, he may be the one that has the longest career in the NFL, just because of he hasn't had that many carries in his career in college, and he's a physical back.
Leidner keeping again, and he's able to get the first down. He scoots out at the 40-yard line, so a 9-yard run for Leidner.
Well, this is what we anticipated from Matt Linegrover, the offensive coordinator for Minnesota. When you sit there and watch the tape of Wisconsin running freely against Nebraska, Why throw it early? They've been running it exclusively in these first 2 drives. And Mitch Leidner gets another first down.
So a fresh set of downs for Minnesota. Second time in 2 possessions the Gophers have been in Nebraska territory. Here's May. KJ May coming in motion. They hand it to him on that jet sweep. And Nebraska with a gang tackle at the 33, but another 7 rushing yards. There is a penalty flag thrown as Max Williams was getting into it with Josh Mitchell.
Answer the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense. Number 5. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
It was on Mitchell, who's going at it with Williams.
Yeah, we were talking with Bo Pelini yesterday. They felt like they were going to use some of their corners to match up against Max Williams because they're treating him like a wide receiver. And it looked like Max Williams got into the head of Mitchell.
And Minnesota is now in the red zone. 4 carries and a catch already for David Cobb. We'll see if they try to pound it here with 2 tight ends. They do. Cobb can't find a hole. Spun down by Zaire Anderson after a gain of a yard.
Zaire Anderson was the one player on the film from a week ago in that Wisconsin game that kind of stuck out. He did bring his hat sometimes, had some physical tackles in that game. He's one of those leaders on this team from that linebacker position as a senior. He's got to get these guys fired up here in the red zone.
No, second down and 9. Little option. Leidner keeping. And he gets hit at the 13-yard line. So at 3 yards there. Josh Mitchell, who had to sit for a play after getting the penalty, made the hit along with Randy Gregory. So now 3rd down and manageable. 3rd and 5. So you're in a situation you could run Cobb, you can run the quarterback, or you can throw the ball here.
And that's the 5th time they've run Leidner already in this game, and Nebraska's starting to figure it out. They're keen on Leidner. Here's the time of the game where, especially in the red zone, off of play action, they love to try to get the ball to number 88, Max Williams. 7 touchdowns on the year. Lined up in the wing right there. Now he's in motion.
They'll go 2 back here. 3rd down and 5, and Leidner to the air. Going to dump it off to the fullback. Caught inside the 5 for a first down by Thomas. Hit out of bounds short of the goal line. But it'll be 1st and goal for the Gophers.
Both tight ends for Minnesota come off the football here and almost like a little rub route, and then they get the fullback in the flat. Everybody's guarding Max Williams. There's 3 guys on him. Great read from Leidner just to dump it in the flat.
Nice design too, right, by Matt Linerover?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you've got an asset like Max Williams, you throw him the football if he's one-on-one, and if he's double or triple covered, then he's taking defenders away from your other receivers.
They had Williams starting there in the backfield. Now you see him in motion. And it's a quarterback sneak. Leidner at 240 trying to push the pile. No signal yet. Still no signal, and there it is. Touchdown, Minnesota. That's the 7th rushing score this year for sophomore quarterback Mitch Leidner. And
impressive answer from Minnesota. Both running the football and Mitch Leidner, much like Tommy Armstrong, getting into a little rhythm off of play action. He's in a rhythm now, running the ball and throwing it on 3rd down, and big answer from Minnesota on the road.
Santoso on for the extra point to tie it at 7. So each team with a scoring drive. 4:43 on the clock here in the first. Rushing touchdown number 7 on the season for Mitch Leidner. Everybody working hard here on Senior Day, including the band out here practicing at 6:15 this morning. Greasy had been up for 3 hours already prepping for the telecast, especially for his opening line about the apples. Matt Damon imitation.
Could have been Spielman. We're down there working out, getting a workout in.
No, that's at 2:15. An hour after him. Minnesota with a nice drive after Nebraska scored. Tied the game at 7. 4:43 to go in the opening quarter. Short kickoff and juggled. Here's Pearsonell, and he gets taken down at the 20-yard line. So it will be Nebraska ball when we start the second quarter. When these teams met last year in Minneapolis, it was one of the biggest wins for Coach Kill and company. And Jerry was coaching upstairs at that point, and Tracy Clays was on the sideline. Derek Engel with a big touchdown catch, and then Philip Nelson with a 1-yard touchdown run to ice the game in the fourth quarter as Minnesota ends a 16-game losing streak to Nebraska. First time they beat the Huskers since 1960. Can they do it today? Minnesota still with a chance to win the Big Ten West if they can knock off the Huskers today and win in Madison next week, and they would move on to the Big Ten championship game. Wisconsin plays at Iowa later today on ABC at 3:30. Here's Amir Abdullah breaking tackles, and inside the 45, a gain of 5 on the play.
I like how they're getting back, guys, to getting the ball to Amir Abdullah, but I also like how they changed the tempo up in the last series and gave some opportunities for Tommy Armstrong to throw the football. And if you notice, they were all underneath short, what I call confidence throws. Get them in the rhythm, get them feeling good. They want them to have fun, but they want them to be relaxed. And if you feel confident because you completed some balls, you get the ball in rhythm and the offense in rhythm, now you turn around, hand it off to Amir Abdullah.
All short throws, Tom, except for the one deep ball to Kenny Bell, which probably gave him the most confidence.
Armstrong trying to find running room, and he's wrapped up for minimal gain by Demarius Travis. Third down.
And I think when you have a young quarterback, like Tommy Armstrong, just a sophomore, and he's playing for the first time this season, the last 2 games have been rough. He's got 3 interceptions, only completing 35% of his passes. But you also want to give the ball to your best player, and that's Amir Abdullah. And so that's the game that Tim Beck has to play here early in this half on offense.
Only 14 completions the last 2 games for Armstrong, 5 already. Third down and 5. Armstrong with time, and a nice throw that's pulled in by Westerkamp inside the 30 for a first down. We were wondering with Kenny Bell out who would step up. It's Jordan Westerkamp, and now he's calling for a substitute.
Well, it starts with protection, Dave. You can see Tommy Armstrong has protection. He can go from one side of the field to the other. That ball is tight coverage. Westerkamp doesn't get a whole lot of separation. And oh, by the way, that's been a big problem for Nebraska receivers outside of Kenny Bell. But that ball had to be perfectly thrown, and Westerkamp comes down for first down.
You see Gregory there just put his helmet on. Here's Armstrong taking off inside the 25. They got a big chunk of it back there on first down and 15. Demarius Travis on the tackle at the 21-yard line.
Yeah, you're going to get great action here, which takes the defense with it. You got to respect Amir Abdullah, and you get double teams and a great look up front for Tommy Armstrong to run. He's got the speed and the power, quite frankly, at 220 pounds to make guys miss downfield.
A 13-yard run. Here's Abdullah, tripped up, but bouncing off of tacklers and fighting for the first down. Abdullah's 200 pounds. He's not a huge back, but he is not easy to get to the ground.
He's a violent runner, despite the fact that he's not very big. They look there. Even a 2-yard run for a first down means a ton to Amir Abdullah, and that's why his teammates love him, and that's why the fans here in Nebraska have loved him for the past 4 years.
They go 2 back now with Terrell Newby back there with Abdullah, who you see motioning out. Armstrong will keep it here, and Armstrong goes down. Cedric Thompson gets him to the ground near the line of scrimmage. Just to finish up on Abdullah, you mentioned earlier 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He needs 300 yards. Abdullah does all-purpose today for 7,000. He'd be the 11th player in college football history to reach that mark. And also a class award finalist, which is an award that goes to a college football player that excels both on and off the field and in the community. Armstrong on second down, going to the end zone. Incomplete. Too high for Pearsonell. 3rd and 10.
Running a double post, and they're trying to get Pearsonell, the true freshman. Cedric Thompson, the safety. Very nice job. They run both posts. Westerkamp inside, and then Pearson right behind him. Nice job by both safeties, Demarius Travis and Cedric Thompson, who last week gave up a big touchdown to Ohio State. Both those guys in miscommunication. Nice job of coverage on Pearson L.
Westerkamp back on the field for Nebraska. Here's 3rd and 10. Armstrong moving to his right. And will he run or throw? He'll throw. And it's caught by Pearson L. The ball comes out. It's recovered by Minnesota. But wait, did he score? Did he get it across? Did he first possess it? Second, did he get it across the plane for a touchdown before the ball came out? No signal yet by the officials. The ball was recovered in the end zone by Body Calhoun for Minnesota.
Just watching it live, it looked like he clearly had caught the ball and had possession. Question is, did he get it across the plane?
The ruling on the field was a reception that the receiver broke the plane of the goal line. Touchdown.
Dangerous throw back across the middle. Great catch in traffic by Pearson L. And right there, yeah, very clear.
That field was a touchdown.
Across the plane, great effort by Pearson L. to get that football in the end zone. And a great job by Tommy Armstrong. Let's make sure he doesn't cross the original line of scrimmage before he throws this ball, scrambles, keeps this play alive. Yeah, and any part of your body behind that black line, and that's a legal throw.
Yes.
Great play by Armstrong.
Right.
I think it's pretty evident that Nebraska feels like they have a lot of respect for Minnesota's defensive front seven. Not just going to be able to line up and run the football. They're going to have to throw it to win. And without Kenny Bell, who's going to step up? Pearson L. Big touchdown.
Short kickoff into that win, and it's muffed. Picked up by May at the 13-yard line, so it'll be Minnesota ball. They bring him in motion again and fake it to him. Leidner now looking for his tight end. Here's Max Williams. And Williams, the only Big Ten tight end who's a Mackey Award semifinalist, out to the 39-yard line.
And this is good design. You get KJ May involved. He's going to come in the formation. And here's the tight end. He's just going to leak out late. You got to respect KJ May. Sorry, came from across the formation. You hide the formation, hide the alignment of Max Williams, and then slip him out into the flat. He's made a living at Minnesota catching those kind of balls. 12
career touchdowns for Max Williams, who's a former high school quarterback. And here's some trickery by the Golden Gophers. Berkeley Edwards looked like he was going to get hit in the backfield and lose yardage. Instead, he gets about 3 to the 42-yard line before David Santos bangs him out of play.
Randy Gregory's been back out on the field, but he hasn't looked his old self. He's kind of tentative, understandably so. If you get a neck injury and you get tingles and a stinger, and that affects you in the way that you feel confident coming off the ball and engaging with offensive linemen and chasing down backs and flinging your body around. So keep an eye on number 4 and how he plays the rest of this game.
One of the best pass rushers in college football. He's been banged up throughout the year. Junior from Fishers, Indiana. Leidner trying to find a hole, and he does. In the Nebraska territory, runs out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. A missed tackle in the hole, and Leidner with a 21-yard run.
Well, I think Minnesota's being smart. Run right at Gregory. You know, they pull the guard. There's Gregory getting blocked pretty easily. That's Isaac Hayes, the guard. He wraps around. Watch him get a block on Gregory. You got to shed that block if you're a defensive end, and then a missed tackle in the hole. And Leidner gets big gainer.
Zaire Anderson couldn't bring down Leidner. Anderson weighs 20 pounds less than Leidner. 63 rushing yards already for the Minnesota quarterback. Play action. Leidner going to take off. And he gets hit hard at the 26-yard line by Nate Gary. Gain of 6, though, for Leidner. Playing smart football right now.
He is playing smart football, and smart football from Minnesota. Takes a hit there. That's a clean hit by Gary. Tell you what, after the game that Nebraska had, and Gary in particular had last week against Wisconsin, they're not going to leave anything to chance on the sideline. They're going to hit everything that moves.
And so far they've given up 122 rushing yards, so a lot of those by the quarterback. Here's Cobb. Cobb finds a running lane and then pushes the pile inside the 20-yard line. We talked about how tough he is to bring down at 220 pounds. And again, this is somebody who's only started 17 games. He didn't have a lot of carries his first 2 years. He was third on the depth chart going into his junior season. And now he's got back-to-back 1,200-yard seasons. He's 7th in Minnesota history in career rushing yards, and he's played basically 2 years.
And if I'm Matt Longover, the offensive coordinator, I'm going to run Cobb right at Randy Gregory.
Cobb between the tackles, and Gregory made the hit at the 14-yard line, so a 4-yard pickup there for Cobb.
And that was the first play that I've seen Gregory since he's back in the game, that he took on a block and then shed it and got to David Cobb. You saw it. Now he's starting to feel a little bit better. But at only 240 pounds, the strategy for Minnesota at the beginning of the game was to run at Gregory and see if he could hold up. And then when he gets a little bit nicked, even more so.
Leidner and Gregory not fooled. Gary also there. Maybe a half a yard for Leidner, so it brings up 3rd down.
And here comes Randy Gregory. You see him roll that, guys. You see he's just going to play it there. And I don't agree with not blocking him. He might want to block him. I know they're reading him, but I would much rather see a double team come off and a big offensive tackle and a big offensive guard than I would try to read him with the quarterback. He's just got too much athletic ability and he can play both.
3rd down and 5 for Minnesota. Play fake. Leidner with time. End zone pass is way overshot, intended for Max Williams, but a penalty flag is down at the line of scrimmage.
7. Penalties declined. 4th down.
So Nebraska's defense holds, and here comes Santoso.
Santoso had a 52-yard attempt last week in the snow against Ohio State, and he had plenty of leg and just hit off the upright.
This is a 30-yard try. And it's blocked. Ball loose, and it's picked up at the 20-yard line by Gary. In the Minnesota territory, inside the 30. Gary will take it all the way. A blocked field goal for a touchdown, Nebraska. An 85-yard return by Gary. Randy Gregory appeared to be the man that blocked the field goal try by Santoso.
The block came from right in the middle of the formation. Kick from Santoso was a little bit low, and Santoso was the only one left to get Gary on the ground, and he had a bevy of lead blockers for the touchdown.
So instead of it being 14-10, a 4-point advantage for Nebraska. It's a 14-point lead after Drew Brown's extra point.
Bo Pelini said Nate Gary was the emotional leader of this defense. See Gregory with his vertical gets up in the middle of that formation, and Gary gets the football, and after last week getting run on by Melvin Gordon, Gary and Bo Pelini couldn't be more excited.
(21-7) Nebraska on top after a blocked field goal return for a touchdown.
There's Randy Gregory right there. He's the one that's going to get his arm up. Great job pushing and then getting that hand up. Block, and then Nate Gary. See, Nate Gary has a chance. Actually, Corey Cooper right there misses it. He had a chance to be the all-star. Well, when you drop the ball, somebody else is going to take it. Nate Gary gets it. Great blocking by Josh Mitchell, and Zaire Anderson, number 13 right there on the kicker, seals it.
And a lot of times you get a block on the back in that situation, but they did a good job to avoid that. They almost did it to Max Williams, but held up. And so the second block this season for Randy Gregory, and Gary takes it back for his first touchdown, and now it's 21-7 Nebraska. Getting into the wind, here's Myrick. And Myrick able to get out of an ankle tackle, but then stumbles to the 23-yard line. Now the Gophers have the ball at their 35-yard line. They're out of timeouts, 21 seconds left. And again, their kicker, Santoso, he can make it from 55, so you'd think you have to get somewhere down around the 35, 40-yard line of Nebraska, but you're out of timeout, so it's got to be, if it's in the middle of the field, you got to get up there quickly and spike it, or it's got to be a pass to the sideline. And Leidner dumps it off here to Cobb into Nebraska territory, and he's tackled inbounds. Or did he get out? The official stopping the clock as they reset the chains, but no, he was inbounds.
Needed to get out.
Clock will start as soon as the referee signals ready for play. After the 23-yard run, they spike it. 10 seconds left.
Boy, we've seen some bad 2-minute defense here. The one fumble, obviously a great play by Thompson, but both teams, Minnesota giving up rush lanes to Tommy Armstrong, and then Nebraska in man-to-man coverage. Why? I have no idea. In this situation, you give Cobb an easy 25-yard gain.
10 seconds left, no timeouts. Leidner got an open man, but the pass underthrown. Boy, if he would have just led KJ May to the sideline, that's a catch. He would have gotten out of bounds with a couple of seconds left, and they would have had a 40-yard field goal attempt.
No question. That was a poor throw that resulted in 3 points off the board for Minnesota, because May was wide open. Perfect call to the sideline. Stopped the clock. There would have been 2 seconds left and an easy field goal.
You know, given Santoso's leg and the wind, I'm a little surprised they're not trying the field goal here.
Yeah.
4 seconds left. It would be a 60-yard attempt. And instead, it's a sack for Gregory. Number 1 today, number 7 on the year, and that ends the half.
I think the only reason they probably didn't try that field goal was they had a ball blocked and ran back for a touchdown. And it was this guy, Randy Gregory, that had an effect on both those plays.
Coach Pelini standing by now with Tom.
Well, Coach, you lost an opportunity there at the end of the quarter, but your team has executed the game well in the first 2 quarters here. What was your assessment?
Yeah, just like you said, I think it was we did some good things in the half. I wish we could have finished up that last drive. I thought we did exactly what we wanted to do in the last drive. We just put the ball on the ground.
Do you have any status on the injuries on anybody returning in the second half yet?
No, not yet. I'll find out when we go in.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
You see that graphic there? It's what we talked about at the Open. And Bo told us yesterday he has no doubt that his team will respond after getting blown out by Wisconsin. They've done it every time they've lost under Coach Pelini. And they're doing it today with a 2-touchdown lead at the half. Lexus halftime report with Reese, Lou, and Mark. Nebraska on top of Minnesota 21-7 as we get ready to start the third quarter here in Lincoln on Senior Day. Back with Brian Greasy, I'm Dave Pash. We were wondering how Nebraska would respond after getting not only blown out in Madison, but embarrassed on defense. And good first half for Nebraska all the way around.
So far, so good. Really, you're judged by how many points you give up. Only 7 points given up. They did give up some yards on the ground. But I think they've contained this Minnesota offense pretty well in the first half. But really, the difference in the ball game so far has been that block kick in return for a touchdown. And when Randy Gregory goes up and gets that block, you know, I think that changed the outcome of the first half.
You mentioned that Gregory was shaken up and came back into the game. There are 2 players that were hurt on Nebraska's offense that will not return. Mark Pelini, the starting center, hurt on the opening play from scrimmage for Nebraska. Kenny Bell on a long pass that set up a touchdown for Nebraska on the first series. He was injured. He won't be back. Alonzo Moore was hurt as well, the sophomore, but He's expected back. Nebraska will get the ball to start the third quarter. DeMornay Pearsonell, who had a fumble at the end of the first half that was recovered by Minnesota. He's the deep man, but it'll be a touchback. Let's check in with Tom Luginbill.
Yeah, well, guys, when you take a look at this offense, and for Tommy Armstrong, when he's going to come out right now, and all the plays that he has made have been broken plays, second reaction throws where he's been able to evade the rush, escape the pocket, keep his eyes downfield, and make plays. Now, Tracy Clay is a defensive coordinator at Minnesota. It's high risk, high reward when you want to come close to the line of scrimmage, play man-to-man. They've got to force Tommy Armstrong to throw from within the pocket where he will rush throws, where his mechanics struggle, and where the ball sails high on him.
151 passing yards, had only 62 last week in the loss at Wisconsin. Gonna throw here? No, he's not. He is nailed by Damian Wilson for a sack at the 21.
And I think the problem for Minnesota is they want to play man-to-man coverage. Here's Damian Wilson. He's just going to come around. He's going to read. Nowhere to go with the football. Good man-to-man coverage, and there's nobody left. Minnesota played a lot of zero coverage, no safety in the middle of the field last week, Dave, against Ohio State, and they got burned a couple of times by J.T. Barrett. I haven't seen him play a whole lot of it yet in this game, but first snap, they go after him.
Abdullah wrapped up in the backfield by Campbell and Botticelli. Abdullah did not get a lot of touches in the first half. 9 carries, 31 yards, and a touchdown. Third down and 14 now for Nebraska.
I think it's natural for Tracy Claeys to want to be aggressive and come after an offense like this that's not real explosive in the passing game.
Do you go cover zero here?
Not me, not on 3rd and 14.
They do bring pressure off the edge, and Armstrong in trouble and sacked again. Back at the 9-yard line. Michael Amefalo got there for Minnesota. Campbell back there as well, and Nebraska goes 3 and out in this first series of the second half.
Well, Devondre Campbell, we haven't called his name a whole lot from that linebacker position, but look at the size, 6'5", 240 pounds, and in third down situations, they will bring him to the edge. An outstanding pass rusher, been a really good player in this defense for Tracy Claeys this season, and a lot of young talent on that defensive line for Minnesota.
They did bring 6 that time after the quarterback, as the punt was nearly blocked. It's a line drive fielded at the 45, slipping a tackle at the 40-yard line, Craig James, and he is to the 35. So it works out well for Minnesota to start the second half. They get a 3 and out. They almost blocked the punt, and after a 36-yard kick, a 10-yard return. They motion him here on 2nd and 3. Run play Cobb. Met at the point of attack, but tough to arm tackle. He had a safety, Byerson Cockrell, giving up about 40 pounds, and he had no shot to get David Cobb down.
We mentioned it. He's low to the ground, 5'11", 220 pounds, and you know, he is not afraid of contact. And yards after carry, 705 coming into this game. That's over half of the total yards that he has.
Most running backs in the country don't have that for a total. He's got that after being hit. So a first down inside the 25 of Nebraska. Cobb trying to find a hole again. Contact, and he moves the pile. He got hit at the line of scrimmage, got rid of that defender, and picked up 8 yards, and it took 3 guys to get him down.
Well, you talk about what's the best quality of David Cobb. You talk to Jerry Kill, he says patience. Take a look. Waits, finds the hole, and then creases the defense. We saw him do it last week several times against Ohio State. Done it all year. That serves you well at the next level, Dave.
Yeah, he hit $145, 3 touchdowns against Ohio State's defense last week. 2nd down and 3. Cobb, big hole, big touchdown. David Cobb, untouched that time. His 12th rushing touchdown, and he's shaken up. We shouldn't be surprised. It seemed like every time there's a big play, there's an injury.
Well, he's grabbing for that hamstring. That's one guy that Minnesota cannot afford to lose if they're going to come back from this 2-touchdown deficit in the second half.
12 rushing scores for David Cobb.
Remember, Berkeley Edwards, their backup running back, is already out of this game with an apparent head injury.
80 yards now for Cobb, so he needs 35 more to pass Lawrence Marody for the single season school record for rushing yards. But obviously his return is in question after hobbling following this touchdown run between the tackles where nobody even laid a finger on him. Now, we talked about the fact that David Cobb is not a finalist for the Doak Walker, semifinalist for the Doak Walker Award. There are a couple of Big Ten backs that are, though, 3 of them actually. Abdullah, Melvin Gordon, and Tevin Coleman, who just had that 90-yard touchdown run.
There's no question that the best bevy of backs in all of college football are in the Big Ten. I don't care, Pac-12, SEC, from a collection standpoint, the Big Ten is unmatched.
Saw Cobb on the bike there. Can Ohio State lose at home to Indiana? The Buckeyes have Michigan at home. They control their own destiny for a Big Ten title appearance. And just listening today to the guys on game day talking to you and Lou, sounds like a lot of people think that Ohio State, if it wins out because it will be a conference champion, would end up making the 14 playoff. On both teams. Here's Abdullah, big hole for him. In the Minnesota territory and thrown out of bounds. Great blocking by Nebraska up front, and it springs Abdullah for a 29-yard run.
We talked about the loss of Mark Pelini. That's Ryan Reeves. Look at him reach. He gets a great reach block on Steve Richardson. Richardson's just a true freshman. We wondered how Pelini and that would affect this offense. Reeves has stepped up.
And Abdullah again. This time tackled by Devondre Campbell after a short pickup. Amir Abdullah closing in on 1,400 yards. He is 9th in the country. Team captain. Got 4 200-yard games on the season. Wasn't healthy, wasn't 100% anyway last week against Wisconsin, but he's been practicing despite that left knee problem. Practice going into the week of the Badger game. Here's his backup, Amani Cross, and he is across the first down marker to the 31. A 12-yard gain for the junior tailback who had a 100-yard game against Illinois earlier this year.
Oh, and this offensive line is coming off in this first drive. Getting to the second level, all the linebackers, that Jack Lynn, Damian Wilson, they are getting covered up. You need your defensive front to protect your linebackers, and so far the second half, Minnesota struggling.
They'll keep it on the ground here with Abdullah. On the cutback, reaches the 19-yard line. There's Damian Wilson making a play. 2-yard pickup for Abdullah. 2nd down and 8.
You know, this defense is set up for their linebackers to run free and make plays. And if they're not doing that, you saw what happened on the last 4 plays. But when Wilson shoots the gap and they take the safety out of the middle of the field to allow him to do that, he can get into the backfield.
Abdullah inside the 15, stood up and driven back at the 13-yard line. Another big hit by Eric Murray. So it's 3rd down. All running plays on this drive for Nebraska, so obviously they want to try to establish the ground game.
Physical game, isn't it? All these injuries and hard-hitting game.
3rd down and 2. Smash mouth here. Cross. And trying to fall forward. He'll come up short. It's 4th down. Travis made the stick. We'll see if Pelini takes the points here.
The way they've been running the ball on this drive, Dave, I don't think there's any reason why you wouldn't just keep running it. You got big holes to run through. Plus, you establish an attitude this second half. But they're going to kick it.
They want to get something out of this drive, so here's Drew Brown. All run plays on that possession. Be a 30-yard attempt for Brown. The difference so far in this game, a blocked field goal by Nebraska that was returned for a touchdown. And Brown puts it through to make it a 10-point lead midway through the 3rd quarter. Saw a lot of Tommy Armstrong throwing the football in the first half, but he didn't throw it at all on that drive. They run down the field and get 3.
Not bad for a guy that a lot of people said in the state of Alabama couldn't play running back, right? Want him to play defense, corner. Said, no, I'm going to go up to Nebraska with her and let me play running back.
He's from Homewood, Alabama. Short kickoff fielded at the 8-yard line by Myrick. And he is hit at the 26-yard line. Minnesota will start there. Leidner's run it 13 times for the quarterback position. Kirkwood, and he's to the 31-yard line, so about 4 there.
Well, what you maintain in this offense's run game with Kirkwood is at least a forward lean, the ability to push the pile. Not going to get as much shake, not going to get a lot of breakaway runs. The real dagger here, guys, is not having Berkeley Edwards. He's the jet. He's their guy that can change the pace and can make people miss. Without that, they're going to be relegated to between the tackles plays here, and then maybe some perimeter stuff with KJ May.
You've got to also expect more runs from Leidner, too. And here it is off the right side. Headed for the sideline and pushed out short of the first down by Nate Gary. A gain of about 4. So a third down here for Minnesota.
Well, they do have one other back in Roderick Williams, who's got 19 carries on the year. He's a big back, more a short yardage back at 250 pounds. That's right. A lot more pressure now on number 7, Mitch Leidner. There's Williams.
They have missed on their last 4 third down tries. 2 for 7 on the day. They'll bring May in motion and fake it to him. Leidner rolling out and throws complete. Max Williams on the catch. What a great pass by Leidner to the 45 of Nebraska with Randy Gregory right in his face. 20 yards.
Yeah, and with one of the best rushers in college football come bearing down on you. Look at this throw. He's got to throw it over the linebacker. Dangerous throw. If you come out flat with that ball at all, it's an interception. Great job by Mitch Leidner. I think you see your star tailback David Cobb go down and you realize now I got to make some plays. I got to take a little bit more risk in the second half, and good throw.
Here's Kirkwood. He didn't get much. You know what I also liked about that previous play? Max Williams. He knew he was going to get out of bounds. He waited for a defender to come just so he could get a shot in. Tough kid, and great story. When they recruited him, his parents both played sports at Minnesota. Dad was a football player. They thought it was kind of a nice story. Hey, we're doing, a good thing for the family.
Hometown kid.
And it turns out that he really improved, gained a lot of weight, was a quarterback, some in high school, and now he's become one of the best tight ends in the country. 2nd and 7, and good play by Nebraska, reading that well. So a short gain as McMullen takes down Kirkwood.
Yeah, and talking with Matt Limegrove, the offensive coordinator, so Max was on the scout team for a year and a half, and the defensive coaches kept telling us, hey man, we can't guard this guy down on the scout team. And so Limegrove brought him over and said he has tremendous ability to adjust his body and great hands in the air. We've seen a multitude of acrobatic catches from him this season, and they might target him here on 3rd down as well.
They got him detached from the line on 3rd down and 5. Here comes a blitz off the edge. Leidner gets rid of it, complete to May. 1st down inside the 30-yard line. Another good throw by Mitch Leidner.
Stand in there and throw. You get Max Williams this time as a decoy. Take a look. He's going to run off. You bring May right underneath. You turn the head of the linebacker Anderson, and then take a look in the pocket. Poise, stand tall, and bring May right underneath the vacated area where Max Williams took the linebacker.
So after 4 straight 3rd downs where they couldn't convert, they've converted on the last 2. Roderick Williams is in the game now at running back. Leidner will keep it, though. And down he goes at the 23. Gary with a good tackle. Still gain of 5 or 6 there for the quarterback. Inside 4 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Nebraska leading by 10. A Cornhusker win would end Minnesota's hopes of a Big Ten West title. Nebraska would still have to win at Iowa and get help. Wisconsin would have to lose twice. And Ohio State in trouble. The Buckeyes, they clinch with a win against Indiana or Michigan State loss. They were to lose today at Indiana. Obviously, their playoff hopes would be gone. They'd have to beat Michigan next week just to make the Big Ten championship game. Here's Williams trying to push the pile. He'll come up short of the 1st down. So a 3rd and about 2 at the Nebraska 20 with Cobb still on the Minnesota sideline.
Yeah, and so it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a committee between Kirkwood and Williams here. Like we said, when Williams comes in the game, 5'11", 250 pounds. I don't think there's anybody else you would want in the game here in 3rd and short situation, would you?
No. They just converted the last 2 third downs throwing the football. We'll see what we get here. Williams hit and falls forward for a yard, but he's short. Do you take points? You assume you get points. It's about 36 yards and make it a 1-possession game.
Yeah, your best player's on the sideline, though. You know, I don't know how much offense Jerry Kill thinks he can reliably get in the second half with your best player on the sideline. I wouldn't be surprised with a big back at 250 whether he goes for it right here.
Well, the offense is on the field for 4th down and 1. They're 6 of 7 on 4th down this year.
And I'd run this ball right at number 4, Randy Gregory.
And Williams with an easy 1st down, going for the touchdown, and he is in. Touchdown, Gophers. Roderick Williams wasn't touched till he was at the 3-yard line. A 19-yard score. What happened there, says Bo Pelini?
Well, it looked a lot like it did a week ago against Wisconsin and Melvin Gordon. A little miscommunication from the secondary on the perimeter. They lose contain. How many times did that happen against Melvin Gordon? And even though the big man, 250 pounds, Roderick Williams, is no Melvin Gordon, he can make that into a touchdown.
So it's a 3-point game after Santoso gets the extra point. Amir Abdullah gets the carry on 1st down and 10, a big hole across the 35. 1st down, a gain of 11 before Travis gets into the ground.
And take a look, this Nebraska offense is, they've hit their stride. Blocking, that is, up front. They're getting on that second level. You see offensive linemen downfield getting blocks on linebackers. You got tight ends. That's Carter getting downfield, getting blocks on safeties. If Minnesota just pulled this to a 3-point game, if they're going to win this in the end, they've got to figure out how to get some pressure in the backfield on this Nebraska offense.
So 82 yards for Amir Abdullah in the game. And he's over 1,400 on the year. And he gets 4 more on this carry, brought down by a Methala. He comes in to this game needing about 500 yards to pass Mike Rozier for the all-time rushing lead in Nebraska. That's unlikely to happen with at least 2 games left, probably 3. Second down and 5. Abdullah, he gets drilled at the line of scrimmage by Devondre Campbell. You saw Campbell's hair go flying as he went in there and met Abdullah in the hole.
The second half, as this 3rd quarter winds down to an end, these Nebraska players, and specifically these seniors, 1 quarter left in their career to play at this Memorial Stadium. In a close game against Minnesota. Has been physical all day. Which team will be more physical to close out the 4th quarter?
24-21 after 3. Nebraska by 3. Well, today's game here in Lincoln, all about injuries. David Cobb on a touchdown run shaken up. Kenny Bell on a long pass, the longest reception of the season for Nebraska. He's out. Mark Pelini on the first play from scrimmage for Nebraska gets hurt. He's out. Randy Gregory was shaken up in the first half for the Cornhuskers. He returned to block a field goal that was returned for a touchdown, which is the difference in the game right now. Nebraska by 3 as we start the 4th. Little option game here. Armstrong will keep and slam down at the 40-yard line by Damian Wilson.
No, guys, we didn't see it right there, but on that drive, when we're starting to see this Nebraska offense with quarterback Tommy Armstrong under center, what they're doing is what's called a check with me philosophy, where you have a key, and that key may be to run to the shaded nose. So the 1 technique, because you want the center to reach that guy. So he just gets up to the line of scrimmage. He's counting numbers. He's going to where the shade is, and he checks it at the line of scrimmage. Could go to one side or the other.
Yeah, Lugs, and Ryan Reeves, the backup center, is doing a great job reaching.
But on that play, Nebraska got nothing on 3rd and 6. Now a short kick and the fair catch made by James at the 27. It is a 1st down, though, for Minnesota. Play fake. Leidner in trouble, being chased, and throws it away. Incomplete. Second down. Drew Goodger, tight end, actually had a chance at it. Malik Collins was pressuring the quarterback that time.
Yeah, Nebraska's been able to get some consistent pressure when Minnesota does try to go play action. And I think Jerry Kill is upset. He thought he had pass interference there, but I think it was just a throwaway from Mitch Leidner, which is a good play on first down. Nothing was there. Trying to get the ball downfield to Max Williams, a good coverage.
You know, he's not making the mistakes that he did last week against Ohio State. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, he forced 2 balls and had 2 interceptions in that game and didn't give him a chance to come back.
2nd and 10. He'll keep, and again they have contained. That forces him back inside, and he gets still 4 yards. Nate Gary on the stop. They keep trying that right side.
Why not? Why not? I mean, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Nebraska's been vulnerable that time. 2 guys on the outside. Josh Mitchell probably has had an earful on the sideline from Bo Pelini, John Papuchis. They are not going to get beat with perimeter runs in the 4th quarter.
3rd down and 6. Six and a half remaining.
Where's Donovan Jones? Well, he hasn't caught a ball yet today.
Well, we saw the handoff on the end around. Looked like he was shaken up, but he's back out there now. Play fake. Leidner looking the other way. Single coverage, and May is there. Makes the catch and hangs on. What a grab by K.J. May with Daniel Davey all over him inside the 30.
4th quarter of a 3-point game. The Big Ten title opportunity on the line, and you throw the ball up top to K.J. May, who's been primarily a running back for you all year, and they double cover Donovan Jones. And so Mitch Leidner, give him credit, he finds the one-on-one, the single on May. He makes the throw, and May makes a great catch.
38-yard pass play. Ball at the Nebraska 25. Leidner keeps, runs into a teammate, and then swarmed after a short gain. The ball comes out. It was taken away by Trevor Roach of Nebraska, but they ruled it forward progress. It stopped.
That was close. Roach came in to the pile. Leidner seemed like he was fighting for extra yardage, and Roach comes in on the side, number 43. There he comes into the pile right there, and he rips it pretty clean. The question is, when did that whistle blow?
Forward progress looked like it was stopped. Greg McMullen is shaken up on the play for Nebraska. Yeah, I think forward progress is done there.
Going backwards, yeah.
So a gain of 2, 2nd and 8 at the 23. Pretty impressive by Minnesota without David Cobb, their best player.
Yeah. And really, it's been Leidner that has picked up the slack, both running the football and making some critical throws downfield.
Although Roderick Williams did have that touchdown on 4th down. They bring May in motion. Leidner rolling out and dumps it off inside the 20. Williams, and he lunges for the first down and has it. Great effort that time by the tight end Max Williams.
Guys, a few plays back on that long throw down the sideline to K.J. May, just standing up close and personal with Bo Pelini here. He was all over Daniel Davey, the corner, number 23, essentially saying, what do you not understand about maintaining your outside leverage? He wanted inside safety help to take away that deep route, and he let the receiver get outside of him all over Daniel Davey as Bo Pelini.
All due respect, I thought Davey was in pretty good position.
Big hole up the middle, and down to the 5-yard line is Donnell Kirkwood. He's short of the first down. It'll be 2nd down and a yard. I don't know what else Daniel Davey could have done.
I mean, that throw was stride for stride. That's, I mean, you give up a big play and the coach gets frustrated. It's a big play in the game, but you can't fault Daniel Davey. He was in good spot there.
Guys, I think a lot of that had to do with him being in the wrong call. That wasn't what they called. That's why he was upset. They knew they'd have safety help over the top if they forced the receiver inside. You're right, from a man inside technique, it was excellent coverage.
All right, Tommy, 2nd down, and close to the first down is Kirkwood. See where they spot the ball here. We're inside 4 minutes to go. Malik Collins on the stop, and he did get the first down. It'll be 1st and goal from the 3.
I'll tell you what's impressive this drive is the control that Minnesota has. They're not in a hurry. They're calling the right plays. They've got a good tempo going. They're making the right decisions. They're making the big plays on 3rd down. And Mitch Leidner's making the right decision. Dump the ball off to Max Williams. It's not a sexy play, but it's a 6-7 yard gain. It keeps you on schedule.
Leidner going to keep. Leidner fighting. He's in. It's a touchdown for Minnesota. And the Gophers have the lead.
And he ran right over Nate Gary, the safety. 240 pounds of Mitch Leidner. He was not going to be denied. Nose for the end zone.
What a game for Mitch Leidner. 115 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Had a great pass to KJ May on that possession. That's got to be really encouraging for Jerry Kill to see your sophomore quarterback come back from a disappointing game last week where he throws 2 picks against Ohio State, goes on the road and plays one of his best games of the season. And Minnesota has a 4-point lead.
And a fierce competitor. That's what Jerry Kill loves about Mitch Leidner. He knew on the road against a good Nebraska team that he was going to come up big.
Nebraska will get the ball with all of its timeouts. But their quarterback, Tommy Armstrong, has thrown just 2 passes this half. Kicking into the wind. But an excellent kickoff. It will come out to the 25 for Nebraska. 28-24. And a great drive without David Cobb, who is injured. Leidner has rushed for a couple of touchdowns. A couple of offensive starters injured on that first drive for Nebraska, and they have not been very good on offense. Meanwhile, David Cobb trying to fire up his team to get a road win and keep their hopes alive of a Big Ten title.
And Jerry Kill really looking for that signature win on the road. They won on the road at Michigan this year, but this would be a different story.
Armstrong pass. What a catch by the true freshman, Pearson L. Had a touchdown grab in the first half. And that's a 1st down catch there.
Great catch and a great throw. This ball thrown right on the sideline. I can't not tell you how hard it is to play an entire second half of a game without having thrown more than 2 passes in the second half, and then to come out on the first play of this important drive and put that ball right on the money.
To the air again. Has time. And it's caught near midfield. Lane Hovey, just his 5th catch of the season. 13 yards and a 1st down.
And a great job by Hovey fighting off. He's going up against the best cover corner for Minnesota, Eric Murray. And nice anticipation from Tommy Armstrong to throw that ball before he comes out of a break.
And again, their top receiver, Kenny Bell, out since the first series with an injury. Others are stepping up so far. Little option here, and Armstrong will keep it into Minnesota territory. Upended, the ball's out. And Nebraska got it back. Unless they ruled that the quarterback was down, but somehow the ball came back to Armstrong when he got upended at the 46-yard line.
He does a flip here. His head goes into the ground, and the ball comes out, comes right back to him.
Oh, my goodness.
Not only is Tommy Armstrong fortunate to get the ball back, fortunately he didn't get hurt.
Wow. Gain of 5. And Armstrong may have just thrown that one away. And a flag comes in. Armstrong got hit by Botticelli. And this is going to give the Cornhuskers a 1st down.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Hitting quarterback below. 15-yard penalty on the defense. Number 46. Automatic 1st down.
It would have been 3rd down. Instead, it's a 1st and 10, and they're deep now in Minnesota territory.
And I think Botticelli, here he comes in, and
I don't agree with that call. I think he just stumbled. He barely hit him low.
Well, he's going down. He beats the center there, and he's going down, and he pulls out. He doesn't wrap up. He just kind of, his face kind of hits the legs. And I agree with you. I would not have made that call.
That's weak.
Especially at that point in the game.
Well, 1st down just outside the 30. They're going to run it here. Abdullah slammed down by Robert Dondelay after a 1-yard gain. Inside 2 minutes now. All 3 timeouts remaining.
Yeah, now you're in a position, if you're Nebraska, where you don't have to throw the football. You got all 3 timeouts, as you said. You can get some good yardage from Abdullah.
Armstrong with time, airing it out. Westerkamp incomplete. And Westerkamp hurt again. He slammed into the goalpost.
He's holding his right knee there.
He was hurt earlier. They've already lost Kenny Bell and their center Mark Pellini to injury.
And then to add insult to injury, hits the goalpost there. Watch his right knee kind of buckle.
So now you're down your top 2 receivers, and you've got a 3rd down and 9. You're in 4-down territory at this point. And now 3rd and 9 for Nebraska. They are 1 of 5 on 3rd down this half.
And if you're Tommy Armstrong, you got to remember this is 4-down territory. There's no need to feel like you have to throw the ball beyond the sticks here, knowing you got 2 downs.
Minnesota rushes 4. Armstrong looking, and now lobs it downfield, and a leaping catch made. Oh, the ball's out. It's picked up by Minnesota. There's a penalty marker down. Minnesota has the ball. Pearson-El caught it. Looked like he might get into the end zone. Then it was stripped by Body Calhoun and recovered by the Gophers. But let's see what the flag is for.
And the official threw his hat down. I think that Pearson-El was out of bounds and came back into the field of play and touched that football. I think that's what they're discussing right now. You see his hat's off, and he comes back into the field of play and catches that football. It's a penalty.
Legal touching on the offense. Number 15. The player went out of bounds on his own, came back in, was the first to touch it. The ruling on the field was a reception, fumble, recovered by the defense. 1st and 10, Minnesota.
A huge turnover. Now the game's not over. Nebraska has 3 timeouts, 1:19 left.
Couple of things. Here he is out here. And when he escapes, he's going to try to go out of bounds and go upfield. Important to note that he does it on his own. He's not pushed out. If that were the case, he would be legal to come back in and touch it. But then he compounds the mistake by getting his ball stripped. Body Calhoun, who has made play after play. There you go. You see him out of bounds pretty clearly. But Body Calhoun, we saw him a week ago have an interception return. He's had made play after play for this Minnesota defense, who has done nothing but turn the football over all season long. Now 27 turnovers, and they get the biggest one of the season.
We'll see what kind of play calling we get here. Again, no David Cobb. So you've got guys like Kirkwood and Williams, who haven't carried it a whole lot this year, although Williams does have a touchdown today.
And if you're Nebraska, Dave, strip the football.
Out to the 6-yard line is Kirkwood. Nebraska will call a timeout, so a gain of a couple.
How Jerry Kill and his staff have brought guys along. When you consider the members on this staff that have been with him a minimum of 15 years or more. I said this last year, and I don't know how you guys feel. I'm not so sure he and his staff aren't amongst the top 5 in college football. When you go back to where Jerry Kill started, go all the way back to Saginaw Valley, go back to Emporia State, go to Southern Illinois, Northern Illinois. He's done it everywhere at every level, and it's been quick turnarounds. That doesn't just happen with everybody, guys. This is a pretty special coaching staff here in Minnesota.
Yeah, Tom, it's really an amazing story, and that's why there's so many coaches when we go out around the league that have so much respect for this program.
Kirkwood hit, breaks the tackle, and he got the first down.
And that's ball game. That's ball game. And David Cobb knows it. And you know what? He's looking out at Donnell Kirkwood saying, good power, bud, good power.
And just to finish up on Jerry Kill, if Minnesota wins this 8-3, they'll be 5-2 in the league. If Wisconsin wins today, it doesn't matter because it's a head-to-head next week. If Minnesota wins, then the Gophers will represent the Big Ten West in the championship game. And Jerry Kill has got to be a guy that other schools are looking at. Now, he's been able to get players to Minnesota. He's been able to recruit outside the state. He's been able to keep some kids local. A great win for Minnesota, spoiling Amir Abdullah's senior day. The Golden Gophers are still alive for a Big Ten championship. They'll play in Madison next week. And if they beat Wisconsin, they will go to the Big Ten title game. 28-24 the final as they win at Nebraska for the first time since 1960. And here's Tom with Jerry Kill.
Coach, on your jerseys, I don't know if people can see it on the numbers, but what's on there? Bricks, right?
Brick by brick.
Brick by brick. How big is this one?
This is the big one, you know, and the way we did it, you know, our best running back, one of the best in the country, got his hamstring, and I can't say enough of the way our kids spot. That's all I can say. I'm so proud of them, and this is what you got to do, and unbelievable by our kids.
Assess the turnaround of Mitch Leidner's performance from last week to this week when you needed him to make critical plays, when you needed him to not make the critical error. He came through for you today, didn't he?
He did. He just keeps growing up, and that's part of being a quarterback. And he's been questioned, and he just keeps coming back. Mentally tough kid.
Part of building a program is taking steps, and some of those steps are beating high-profile programs on the road. Is this one of the first times we've seen this happen in Minnesota now?
Yeah, it has my tenure. I can't speak for anybody else, but I know it's been a long time. And the greatest thing is, next week, we're playing for it all on our side. So we're excited about that.
Go enjoy the win, Coach.
Thank you. I'm going to enjoy those moments, baby.
Well, he's one of the most respected coaches around the country when you speak to other coaches, and he's going to get even more national recognition with a win like this, and now they have a chance to play for the Big Ten West crown in Madison next week. 28-24, Minnesota comes back from 14 points down, and a blocked field goal that was returned for a touchdown by Nebraska. The Gophers overcome it all and win in Lincoln for the first time since 1960. For Brian Gracie, Tom Luganville, I'm Dave Pasch. College Football Scoreboard presented by Honda coming up. So long from Lincoln.